Wow. Okay. So after all that speculation, all those theories from those preview images that we saw for this mysterious character with the bow and the arrow, it turns out he's not the human version of Lemon Hope. He isn't the human version of Spirit Dream Warrior. He isn't even a member of the Green Wizards Guild. It turns out that he is the adopted father for Huntress Wizard. The beginning story in this episode, I have to say, really gripped me, really had my attention. With Spirit Dream Warrior telling the origin story of Huntress, her basically being alone in the forest and being adopted by this huntsman and his wife. And it was a quick intro sequence. It didn't last too long, but it was probably the most interesting part of this episode for me. I absolutely loved it. We see that this huntsman teaches Huntress Wizard. He and his wife influence Huntress and teaches her how to eat, how to hunt, how to take care of herself. And I really feel like that was the catalyst for her being such a survivalist and such a loner. Just her learning how to take care of herself. And it also begs the question, a big question, and I want people in the comments to really dive deep into this one. How old is Huntress? Because those two characters, they looked human in the Land of Ooh, and we know what happens to the Land of Ooh in the future. But this definitely looked like it was way in the past, way in the past. So now I'm curious as to how old Huntress is, how old that huntsman was. It so many questions now. There's so many questions. That opening sequence is literally what I love about Adventure Time in a few seconds, because it only was like about 30 seconds, but everything I love about Adventure Time encapsulated in that opening sequence. It almost made me shed a tear. That's how much I was into it. I almost shed a tear seeing Huntress having to bury her adopted parents and go out on her own. And I guess after that, that's soon when she meets Spirit Dream Warrior and starts her training. I mean, it was so crazy. But of course, after that, we moved on to the Fiona and Cake portion of the episode, where we see Gary and Marshall with LSP shopping, fundraiser that they're going to hold. They're buying ingredients, they're at the supermarket, and I don't know if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn that they were being watched by someone or some people. We even get a shot of the Ice Queen, the obviously the human version of Ice Queen. It was a quick shot where Marshall sees her and she runs away. I wonder if that's got anything to do with anything. That is interesting that they added that. They made emphasis on the fact that Marshall noticed Ice Queen and she ran away. And I wonder what they were trying to tell us with that. And even more questions. This episode just this episode just added so many more questions. But there's also something I want to address, and I guess I should address it now. When it comes to the Fiona and Cake series, I see a lot of people making mention at the fact that they don't really like the Fiona and Cake side of the story as much as they are interested in the Land of Ooh, the Finn, the Huntress stuff. And that's another question I want to pose for this video, for this review. What do you guys think about that? And I didn't really feel it because I've been really enjoying all these episodes, these past 4 episodes. I've really been enjoying the story, the art, the acting. I feel like I don't mention the acting enough, but the acting is really captivating as well. I've been enjoying everything about this series. But that being said, I didn't really notice how much I enjoy the Land of Ooh Finn stuff as much or even more than the Fiona and Cake storyline until this episode. This episode kind of made me feel like it was weird. You know, the Fiona and Cake stuff kind of feels a bit fillery, to be honest with you. I mean, the storyline with Cake getting offered to go work on Cheers, this random storyline in this episode, and Cake goes to the studio, she gets handed a script, and we find out that the cast of Cheers are about 8 inches tall, and it's they're in a box being watched by an audience, and they have Cake there, and they just want her to make stretchy jokes because obviously she's this famous cat that can stretch, magic cat. And the storyline, and I get it. I knew the punchline was, hey, it turns out that everyone on TV is about 8 inches tall. You know, that's the joke. But it just felt kind of weird, and I guess I should say it didn't take away from what was going on in the episode, the more interesting stuff in the episode, but I do feel like it was random, and I couldn't help feeling like I want to get back to that Huntress stuff. I want to get back to the Finn stuff, the Land of Who stuff. Like I was so interested in that. But I get like, it's still a comedy at the end of the day, and they have to tell their stories the way they want to tell them, and I do appreciate the writers for telling their story. But I guess I have to kind of agree with the people that are saying that the Land of Boo stuff, the Huntress stuff, that's the stuff we're really here for. That being said, however, I do also want to make mention of the fact that the Fiona stuff in the Fiona and Cake storyline, again, continues to be so relatable. I mean, I feel like Fiona's the heart and soul, obviously, of the series. And watching her run around town, trying to find DJ Flame because I guess she wants to recruit him for their fundraiser, and going to all these old spots where she was romantically involved with him and how they met, how they made a connection. It expands upon what she said in a previous episode where she made mention at the fact that she can't explain it, but they have a connection, and we kind of see why she feels that way. It's more than a physical attraction, and it's the experience she had with him, and obviously that's relatable to anyone who's been in a relationship where they fell really hard. Watching your partner, being with them, experiencing different things. It really is about the experience that you miss and you love, and that was really relatable in this episode. And actually, it actually is a hinder to Fiona because she ends up missing the meeting that she had with the council that Hunter set up, and Hunter actually gets disappointed with her, maybe even a little bit upset with her, but she does have a good excuse. It feels like it's, at least from Hunter's perspective, it's because she was chasing around DJ Flame, let's put it how it is, that she missed the meeting that Hunter set up. So I understand why Hunter feels hurt, but we know that it wasn't just that. It was that Fiona was also trying to help Huntress because Huntress was growing. Huntress was trying to feed to get stronger and get bigger and sprout, literally sprout, and take on her more human form. But I guess from Hunter's perspective, it seems like, Fiona kind of dissed him to go chase around DJ Flame, and that looks really bad. Looks really bad. I felt bad for Hunter in this episode, but also felt bad for Fiona in this episode. And I don't know how people are going to feel about Fiona chasing around DJ Flame, trying to get him to work on the fundraiser. I think people are going to take a little bit of offense to that because of, all the stuff that she went through last episode with DJ Flame. It hurts. It hurts to see Fiona struggling like that. And it also feels like she's going backwards instead of forwards. And that's obviously relatable to any adult, any adult that's ever made mistakes, especially in relationships with partners. You watch that and you just cringe a little bit. At least I did. And but it's relatable. Another one of my favorite sequences in the episode was when Simon gets called by Fiona, and Simon ends up speaking with Huntress, and while they're on the phone, Bubblegum grabs the phone from Simon and she starts yelling at Huntress, and Huntress is yelling back, and they're having this argument because they really want to save Finn. And I don't know how to explain it. I really don't know how to explain it, but it really, really hit me watching them argue and fight for Finn's life, and Huntress gripping the phone, gripping the cell phone, can tell she's frustrated, and Princess Bubblegum frustrated because she wants to do everything she can to save Finn, and everybody's doing everything they can to save our boy Finn while he lays there in a coma. And it's so hard to watch him like that, and it's so epic to see everyone doing everything they can to save him. I love that. It's like they're a family, everybody's there, and I love storylines like that. Even Simon going to quote unquote Gunter to get the item, the demonic wishing eye, to try to see if they can use that to save Finn, because they go to Prismo and Prismo's glitching, which again, another mysterious storyline to be developed. Why is Prismo glitching? Why can't he grant wishes anymore? Why can't he help them? The Scarab kind of interrupted the conversation, so it cut them off. Prismo couldn't really get into details with Simon and Princess Bubblegum about why he can't grant wishes. I'm assuming that storyline is going to be developed in the future. I mean, we've all been talking about it. We've all been paying attention to the fact that Prismo's been glitching throughout these episodes. So we're going to see what happens with that in the future. Another future developing storyline. But from Simon to Marcy to the Princesses of Ooh to Bubblegum specifically opening the Enchiridion. The Enchiridion. I mean, remember back in the day, the Lich episode of Adventure Time, the Enchiridion was like this mystical, scary object that caused so much problems for Simon and everyone in Ooh and Finn himself when the Lich basically killed Billy and tricked Finn into opening the Enchiridion. They even went that far to save their friend, to save their family, Finn. Oh, it was lovely to see that storyline. It hits so deep, you know. We all want friends like that that will go to hell and back to save us and to be there for us and have our back. That's truly the mark of a great friendship and great family. You know, you do whatever you can to be there for your people. So overall, I love that they were developing multiple different storylines in this episode. I loved the message of family and taking care of people and just the goodness, the best in humanity being displayed with Finn's family trying to save him, and the beginning of the episode with Huntress being mentored and taken care of by the huntsman when she was in need, and his wife, and how much Huntress has developed such a caring, developed such love and caring for people because of how she was raised. She never forgot that. She's such a great character, by the way. Huntress is a ride or die for real. But that also being said, again, I'm curious to see what other people think about the whole Fiona chasing around DJ Flame and Cake going to the studio to become an actress. And I guess they tried to connect it with the storyline of trying to save the sweet spot, and Cake was gonna make money, a lot of money from starring in this episode. But to me, it really wasn't the focus of the episode. That weird that weird cheers sequence of the episode really wasn't what caught my eye. Much like all of you, I think we're all in agreement actually about this. The Fiona and Cake storyline, it's good. It can even be great sometimes, like when Fiona was having her whole crash out moment last episode. But I think we're all here for the meat and potatoes. And the meat and potatoes is the Finn, Huntress, Landezvous, all the mysterious stuff going on. That's what we're here for. That's what we love. That's what really hits. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you thought about all the developing storylines of this episode. And thanks for watching. I can't wait to see what happens next week. We're really starting the adventure part. We're really getting into it. I can't wait. Take care, guys.